Hi everyone, welcome to the Liverpool ED Resuscitaire education video. The machine we have in our ED is the Fisher and Paykel. We're going to go through the orientation and 5 steps of setting up and using the machine. My name's Amy Tway, I'm one of the ED registrars here, and this is Amy Ward, one of our clinical nurse educators.
So this is our Fisher and Paykel machine. It's known as the Cozy Cot. This is the tower. This is called the Neopuff. We've also got a blender which uses air and oxygen, and we've also got the SATS probe which helps with monitoring the oxygen levels and also the heart rate. In terms of the machine, the light sits up here. These actually do come down, so in order to put it down you simply just lift it up and then it folds back. In order to do the bed tilt, you just grab the small little bar at the back, pull it forward, and you just tilt it as required. On this side of the cot, we do have 3 drawers. I'll show you what's in each one of the drawers.
So now we're going to go through the 5 steps of setting up and using the Resuscitaire. Step 1 is looking at the power, gases and turning on the heater. We're going to connect the machine to the power with these 2 power cords. And then we connect the gases to the machine, air and oxygen to the right colours. And then we go around and turn on our machine via this button. This automatically turns on the heater for the machine to 25% of its maximum. We can dial up the temperature by pressing manual, and we can turn on the light source for the machine.
Step 2 is to ensure that we do have working suction. We've disconnected the Yankee sucker and we've attached an 8 French Y suction catheter. It is a soft one. You can use 8 to 10 for neonates. Over here, we need to dial it up to a maximum of 100 millimeters of mercury. And you just want to confirm that on the Y suction catheter by placing your thumb over the top and checking the suction on the dial. The reason we don't want it to go too high is because we don't want to cause any soft tissue damage to bub.
Step 3 is to make sure that there is free-flowing oxygen via a bag valve mask, 250 ml size. And it should be connected to oxygen on the wall and dialed up to 10 to 15 litres per minute to inflate the reservoir bag.
So step 4, now we're going to talk about applying the monitoring. Once baby is born, we're going to start the APGAR timer. We need to ensure that baby's head is towards the end of the bed and the feet towards the tower. Saturation monitoring is going to go onto the right hand of baby. It's going to measure the preductal SATs. Then we're going to get the skin sensor. This skin sensor needs to go over the right upper quadrant and it's to measure the temperature. We do have reflectors. The idea of that is to reflect the heat coming from the lamp and it'll give you a true temperature which will be indicated up here. It does take about 5 minutes for a true reading to occur. We're just going to press the on button up here. We're going to get a saturation reading and we're also going to get a heart rate.
So our final step, step 5, is going through the setup and the use of the Neopuff. The Neopuff is the ventilation device of choice for infants weighing below 10 kilograms. First of all, we've got to make sure that the manometer is set at 0 centimetres of water, and then we connect up the tubing. This is the oxygen blender that blends oxygen and air together. We're going to connect that to the Resuscitaire, and then we're going to connect the tubing of the Neopuff to the gas outlet here. We're going to select a correct size mask for the baby that covers the nose and the mouth and does not cover the eyes. And then we connect that to the T-piece. Next, we're going to turn on the oxygen flow for the Neopuff. And we do this by using the oxygen blender. We dial it up to 10 litres per minute for a newborn, just up there, or 15 litres per minute for an infant. Then we turn on the oxygen blender and we can adjust the FiO2 by dialing this knob here. For a newborn, it should be FiO2 of 21%, so we'll turn it back down. The next thing we need to do is to check the maximum pressure delivered to the baby via the Neopuff. The way to do this is to turn the peak inspiratory pressure valve as far right as the knob will allow. We occlude the outflow tract and the PEEP valve. Currently on the manometer you can see over 70 centimetres of water, which we can adjust by turning this dial down. This should be set at 50 centimetres of water. We pop the shield back up so that can't be changed. The reason we do this is to ensure the maximum pressure delivered to baby is less than 50 centimetres of water to prevent barotrauma. If someone accidentally knocks the peak inspiratory pressure valve, they cannot go above 50 centimetres water, but they can go below that only. The next thing we need to set up is the peak inspiratory pressure. And again, you do this by occluding the outflow tract and the PEEP valve. Currently it's set at 45. We want to set it down to the green zone at 30 centimetres of water and 25 centimetres water for premature babies. The last thing we want to do is to adjust the PEEP. The way to do this is to occlude the outflow tract. I can see on the manometer that that's currently set at 10 centimetres of water, which is too high for this baby. We want to set it back down to 5 centimetres. The way to do that is to adjust the PEEP cap on the T-piece, and we'll spin that down to 5 centimetres of water. Now we can start ventilating the baby. We've got our baby on the table, we give them a good wipe down to dry them. We put a shoulder roll under the shoulders to keep the head in a neutral position. Then we put the mask, roll it up from the chin to the nose to get good seal. You can also test the seal by looking up at your manometer to check that there's 5 centimetres of water of PEEP. Then with a C-grip and a little bit of chin lift, you can ventilate the baby by pressing the PEEP valve for 0.5 seconds and releasing to allow expiration, and so on.
Thank you for watching our education video on how to set up and use our Fisher & Paykel Resuscitaire here at Liverpool Emergency Department.